Hi, you're listening to Oh Crap with Jamie. This is a podcast for parents working hard to break the cycles while dropping the F-bomb a lot. I'm your host, Jamie Glowacki, and I am the author of Oh Crap Potty Training and Oh Crap I Have a Toddler. And I am so happy you're here.
Hey guys, welcome. So this episode is called The Village Part 1. So as promised, I'm going to do a whole village series. I hope my chickens don't get too loud for you guys. Basically, there are two hens who are broody, which mean they're laying on eggs. And so they're hogging the nesting boxes. And there's some other hens who aren't broody who have opinions about that. And so in the morning, sometimes there's a little ruckus. All right. So let's reiterate a few things, especially if you're new to me and just joining us. We're investigating like the connection between burnout, overwhelm, and the village. And where the hell is the village? And a couple of reiterations. The village is a little bit of a misnomer because we actually don't live in villages. So when we say the word village, we conjure up, maybe I conjure up, villages, people, houses in close community with even a common playing area or a common meeting area. And we don't have that anymore. So for our purposes, I really am looking at past generations as opposed to indigenous tribes. I love the book Hunt, Gather, Parent, but the author did go to Mayan culture. She went to other cultures, and there's wisdom in that book. I think there's solid gold on every page. I love it, but it still isn't the same thing as what we have today in the Western world, especially. And I want to remind you that the village is, well, actually, before I remind you of that, I am looking to a couple of generations ago, even my generation growing up. So I'll be 57 this year. I'm square in the middle of Gen X, raised by square in the middle boomers who were raised by Depression era parents. So I am looking towards that because I think, number one, it's closer to what we mean by community and village when we're looking for that in this day and age. But I'm also so interested in how drastically things have changed in so little time. And it's easy to think that where you're sitting now, it's always been that way. One of the more fascinating things about Oh Crap Potty Training is the first edition of that book. I catered to moms. I had a dad cheat sheet. I didn't speak of dads because I had never worked with a dad. From 2009 to 2014, when Simon & Schuster bought it, I hadn't worked with a single dad. Dads were never on calls. They were not taking part. Most dads wanted a cheat sheet. And what would happen is, from 2014 to 2024, when I got the 10th anniversary rewrite, I had scathing emails almost daily from dads. It's not the 1950s, dads are taking part. And I was like, yeah, can you even imagine? As early as 2014, a lot of dads weren't taking part. So, and to be honest, a lot of dads still aren't. So if you are a dad who's taking part, wonderful. I'm so happy, but please recognize that a lot, even in America, a lot are not. And when we look, we can see how drastically things have changed. And so I think I'm never in the back in my day, it was easy. And Gen X is so famous for we did fine. We were out past midnight. We were feral. We lived on benign neglect and garden hose water. But I'm not trying to be like that. It's more pointing out this is how things have changed. And the biggest issue is, when we're thinking about cultivating our community, cultivating our own personal village, is it takes more intentionality now. We have to be intentional, and we have to do a little bit more work, because the mental load, this thought occurred to me in a really succinct form. I've been skirting these words in the last few episodes. What we have to recognize is there's a cultural shift, and I don't know if it's my algorithm on social media or if you're seeing this, but women have had it. Women are like, no, I'm working full time. You're working full time to, your partner. And the mom is still taking on 90% of the mental load. But what I want to bring up when we look to yesteryear is the mental load has changed. And I'm not waxing nostalgic, but generally speaking, dads worked, mom stayed home, dads had local jobs, right? You moved within next to your family, usually, or within the same community that you went to high school in and that you grew up in. The mental load, though, has changed because the parenting hustle is different. My people had kids and they kind of forgot about them. You sent a kid to school and that was school's problem. I mean, parents were like, there. And if you got in trouble, the parents were, they'd get mad at you, not the teacher. Things were addressed, but like you got a report card. And if the teacher had anything to say, there was a note on it. And that was that. There wasn't homework. I didn't have homework till 5th grade. So my mother didn't know what the SATs were because Gen X was the first generation expected to go to college. Now, think of your own, just school and the portals and the apps in preschool, so that you're at work and you're getting notifications that your kid hit somebody at 10 o'clock in the morning. You're in a meeting. You're like, what the hell am I supposed to do about that? Mental load, right? Who is the receiver of those apps? Who logs into the portal? Is it mom or dad? And again, I'm not slighting any dads who are doing it. Please, 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 if you're doing it, keep doing it. But in my work, generally, I find this is more mental load on the mom. A few other things that we've discussed, but to wrap it up more succinctly, birthday parties and events. Even graduation, you got preschool graduation, kindergarten graduation, 5th grade graduation, 8th grade graduation, high school graduation, college graduation. Like, what is going on, right? We used to have Christmas and Easter, and forgive me if you're not Catholic. I'm not Catholic either, but those were the big holidays. Now, yes, we honor more holidays in school, but now we got parents with a freaking leprechaun coming in and leaving green glitter on the floor. Valentine's Day became a national freaking candy holiday. Like, all these things add up. Birthday parties, like I've discussed, right? Birthday parties are insane right now. Like, you have to go shopping. You have to figure out the schedule. It's just more, so much more. And back in my day, dads came home around 5:30. Like, moms, the roles were very gendered, but it was just because it was like, it was easier. Moms did take care of the house, but taking care of the house took less. We had smaller houses. Generally speaking, families had one car. God, if you had 2 cars, you were rich. You were living high on the hog when I was a kid. There was more neighborhood play. So the kids would leave, bang the front screen door, and the kid was gone all day. Now I know people who move to neighborhoods specifically because the demographics say on the paper that there's tons of kids in the neighborhood and not a kid is outside because they're all in organized sports. Organized sports is a huge suck. And more and more, I'm convinced that children under 6 years old do not need organized sports. Your time is far better spent on a playground getting big play with lots of proprioceptive and vestibular input. Like, that is time better spent. And again, though, the mental load falls on the mom. I got a comment on Instagram. I really believe what you say about kids and organized sports. I don't feel like my kid's ready for it. He doesn't want to do it. My husband's really like into it and he's digging his heels in. And I'm like, okay, if he's digging his heels in, he's in charge. He's in charge. He is the email that signs up. He gets the notifications. He's on the group chat. He fits it into the schedule. He buys the uniform. He practices. He gets the kid who doesn't want to go. He brings that kid to the game. Okay. And if he takes on that entire mental load, then okay. And then he will actually see if your child is ready or not, or if the child has a meltdown and really doesn't want to do it. But I am convinced that this is where the mental load tips over into moms, and it's so different than what it was even in my day. And again, I'm not waxing nostalgic. I think it was a better childhood. But now we also have the safety concerns. I'm convinced Gen X probably is the generation responsible for kind of fucking up parenting, because we were neglected. Our parents didn't know what was going on. Our parents did forget about us to the tune of, there was a commercial on at 10 p.m. that said, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Like, they had to be reminded. And so it's like, now, of course, we have to hover and track and safety concerns and all these other things, right? And we don't have to, but we have to be intentional about how we change that. Now, I want to remind you of one other thing. The village, if you find yourself consistently saying, where's the village? I have no village. It's a little bit of victimhood, because we have to step out of our comfort zone to build this intentional community. We have to. And It's vital. It's vital in the 0 to 6 years. Okay. Once your kid is 6, that's when I think organized activities and sports are great. So there will be activities, there will be meeting other people, there will be casual conversations with other parents. Your kid will be in school for the most part, unless you're homeschooling, but then you'll find your groove there as well. Your child has more independence with their and bodily autonomy. They can do things for themselves. You get a break in the action. And so I think once you move on from 6, parenting doesn't get quite so lonely. 0 to 6 is brutal. It's just brutal. The lack of sleep, you don't know. You don't know. You become an entirely different person. Your relationship changes with your spouse. Even if you have an easy baby, it's still so brutal with just sleep deprivation. And for a lot of moms, there's postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and it's nothing like you thought it was going to be. And so you are on the steepest learning curve, I think, in a human lifespan is the mothering from 0 to 6, parenting from 0 to 6. But a large part of that, again, is the mom. And so this is when you need it the most. And even though you're exhausted, even though you're like, Jane, I can't put another fucking thing on my plate, it is so worth it to take something off your plate to make room for community in the village, because otherwise you're getting just dopamine. So if you're making connections online, if you're only texting, if you're only communicating with people online and people at work and through a computer, and I love moms groups, they're a mixed bag, of course, but Facebook moms groups or whatever. And even if you're finding validation, even if you're seen, even if you feel like you're heard, which largely you probably don't, because there's always someone to fucking argue with you, right? So, but that is all dopamine. In person, any in person, face to face interaction gives you oxytocin. Guys, you can get a drug for free just by talking to people. And this has hit, I think why we're seeing such a huge cultural shift is this has hit a tipping point after the pandemic. Why? Because we got very acclimated to online. We got very acclimated to not touching. We got very acclimated to just staying in our own little silo. I also think that the emphasis more and more on the nuclear family, I am all for nuclear family values. However, we were never meant to get everything from our spouse, particularly in a heteronormative set, like marriage, dad and mom. We were never meant to get everything from our spouse. Men process information differently. They process emotions differently. And a lot of frustration I see is women expecting men to process the way they do, and they just don't. And so there's a lot of frustration there. And even, I think it's really funny how often you go to an event at somebody's house and the women end up in the kitchen and the men end up like doing their thing in the living room. And I don't think that's like sexist or something. I think guys need guys to process information and women need women. And we need other women in this particular stage of life, even though it is the most exhausting and the most draining because of the learning curve. So when I started to homeschool Pascal, everybody brings up the socialization question, and it's so ridiculous because homeschoolers are like overly socialized. There's so many things going on. And so I recognized very early on that the moms need socialization. Man, the moms would go like cackling hens at any sort of gathering, homeschool activity. And I realized because it's a steep learning curve as well. And so many moms just need, like, especially new homeschooling moms, what curriculum are you using? What do you do? Oh, my kid's really resistant to this. Or how do you like that? Or what else is going on? Like, we need that information to be seen, to be heard, to be validated, to get information, right? Because you could do all the research online, but you want to know somebody's done something and it worked with their kid, and why they liked it. And you also just need other people to sympathize with you. Or, one of the horrible things about homeschooling is you don't get to bitch about your kid and parenting, because people will be like, well, you chose it. It's just like when parents bitch about parenting and some Yahoo online says, you're the one who chose to have kids. Yeah, Susan, I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know get coughed at in the middle of the night and right in my mouth. Like there's all these things about parenting that you just don't know till you're in it. And same thing with homeschooling. And so I realized that it's because of that steep learning curve. And so that's why you guys should be more concerned with this now, even if your plate feels really full. So the last couple of episodes, we talked about how to maybe lessen that plate, right? And hard choices. So when we first talk about the village that you may be envisioning, that sort of indigenous tribe, that the one Michaela, I forget her last name, for hunt gather parent, or if we're studying evolutionarily how humans existed with their children, I think that is fascinating. But again, it doesn't apply to us. But family is typically that village. And the village has always come with conflict. It has come with concentric circles of people whose opinions you take or listen to, people who are close to you, ride or dies. It has always consisted of people on the fringe. There's always a creepy fucking uncle that you got to watch. Like, I don't know what that dynamic is, but everybody seems to have one. And so family is what you're thinking of. And there are multiple reasons why we don't have family. And a large portion, we've mentioned this before, is because, we move for jobs or we just move away, or sometimes we hate where we grew up. I did. I blew out of Rhode Island when I was 20 and I was like, yeah, I'm never coming back here. Surprise. I was 20 years old. But, even then, I want to bring up a shit sandwich I ate. I lived in San Francisco for 18 years. I got in right after the 89 quake, 1990. So rents were low because nobody wanted to live in San Francisco. I had rent control apartment, a Victorian flat in Pacific Heights, one of the most desirable areas of San Francisco. You guys would die. So a rent control means only a 1% rates per year, and you're locked in, and tenants have all the rights in San Francisco. When I left, I was paying $1,300 rent, and I had 4 roommates. There were 5 bedrooms. All of us had plenty of space, and they all paid minimum rent. I didn't even have to pay rent. I was the leaseholder, and they were all paying $300, and I had to pay. Well, I think I paid $300 to live in San Francisco. I gave that apartment up. And with that, the market value was like $7,000, I think, or $7,500, I forget. I knew I was never coming back to San Francisco, but I moved to Rhode Island because I was a single mom, and I knew my son needed father figures. I knew he needed males in his life, and I knew that my stepdad, my dad, and my brother and my uncle would all rally and be that for him. And so I made that choice. Do I love Rhode Island? I love my house, but no, Rhode Island's a corrupt state. The people are wonky. New Englanders are fucking hard, man. They're just hard people. but I'm near the ocean, and I had my family. Now, that is one of the shit sandwiches I chose to eat. That I couldn't live in San Francisco. It was an easy decision for me, so I can't really say that it was a shit sandwich. But I do want to bring this up because I want to bring up parental estrangement. I've talked about it before. It is in record numbers. It's a real societal danger that we're looking at. And I want to talk very briefly about family and toxic and dysfunctional, and the big difference between toxic and dysfunctional. We are throwing around the word toxic like it's candy. It's just like everywhere. And what we are calling toxic is often dysfunction. Dysfunction can be worked through. Toxic people are so damaged, they can't see their own ass. They just don't know what's going on. You can't get through to them. Okay. And I truly believe this is something for you to decide, but I work with people. There's like so many different categories of people that I work with, people who have like an amazing relationship with their parents, move next door. The parents helped buy the house. The parents babysit the kids. They're in and out of each other's house without knocking. It's very lovely. I have clients who's, they live on compounds with the whole family and they have a whole thing figured out. I have people who love their mothers, thought they had the best childhood, and now their parents are the best grandparents. I also work with people whose parents want nothing to do with the grandkids. Like they're like, I raised you, I'm done. I work with people who really, really, really had abusive childhoods and are done. They're just, and there's nothing that can be done, and they have to cut them off. So I recognize that there's a wide scope of this. So please take everything I say through your own lens, but I do want to give some airplay to let's slow our roll with toxic, okay? Because every family has dysfunction. Like I said, just about everybody has a creepy fucking uncle that you got to watch that like tried to kiss you on the lips or mine was my Uncle Lucian. Fucking hate him. Yeah, he doesn't get access to the kids, right? But when we look at dysfunction, my family's highly dysfunctional, and I still thought that the guys in my family would show up for Pascal in the way he needed. And my mom was, because of our situation, my mom was emotionally not there. Physically, she did everything she could, but emotionally, she was not there. And there was like, I would say there was some damage done. Like she was really not present for us. And especially when I went through high school and when I probably needed her the most. But she really, really did do the best that she could. And she was a fabulous grandmother. I mean, the drop of a hat, she'd take Pascal and she'd follow my rules, even if she didn't agree with them. And she was great. And I know not everybody has that. But my dad, I could have easily cut my dad off easily. And I didn't. And he's a great grandfather to Pascal. And I still kind of sit in like what a toxic human he was when we were growing up. And he still kind of is, but he's not doing any damage to my kids. So now I have to kind of say, well, they get to have a relationship because even though I can see he's toxic, he doesn't affect me anymore. I don't like, he'll say something. My father's the kind of person that opens his mouth and stupid comes out, and he'll say something and I will come at him and he'll be like, ugh. So, I mean, I have the upper hand now. So, and I think he's a little scared of me, which is fine. I don't mind that dynamic at all. But all by way of saying, Pascal has a great relationship with him. He does not show up in any way, shape, or form the way my mother did. Not at all. My father and my stepmother used to winter in Florida. He missed every Halloween costume, every Christmas, everything up until spring, and never really didn't call a whole lot. But he shows up when he's here, and he'll, if I need him to build something, he'll build something. And so I take what I could get, but I don't cower with him. So that's a difference. So, but I was thinking about it and I was like, well, yeah, every family has dysfunction. And so you really have to parse out. And I did a mini podcast on trauma and the ACE scale. Like if you had anything on that ACE scale where that's adverse childhood events, then yeah, you have every right to go no contact. I mean, you have every right to do whatever you want, but I really want people to consider it because I think somehow we've gotten there's so much therapy talk and there's so much, I love Raquel, the capacity expert. She really talks about this. Like if you constantly have to protect your peace, then you don't have peace at all. You're not doing any healing. You're just keeping the situation one in which you don't get any triggers. And I think that has happened to a lot of people unconsciously. And that's even why kids are triggering so many people. I mean, the amount of people who tell me that they're just overly triggered by their kids. And I'm like, well, your kid's just being a kid. We can't fix your kid. Like your kid is just doing kid things. We have to fix you and your triggers. So I would say if you are thinking about parental estrangement or thinking of cutting somebody off, number one, recognize that your anger at another person is almost always based in hurt, what you didn't get. And this can be especially crushing if your parent is a good grandparent. So you can be a good grandparent without having been a good parent. And I think for a lot of parents, being a grandparent is a do-over. They have time, they have more money, they have they're straightened out. My mother had her first kid when she was 19. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like she knew what she was doing, right? So recognize that your anger is hurt. And so number one, have you actually had a conversation with your parents, not snapping back and forth, not, I asked you not to feed them candy and you keep feeding them candy. That's not a conversation. Okay. Like that, yes, that parent did cross the boundary and yes, they should do what you say, but have you sat down and had a conversation with a simple, like, listen, mom, now we have more information. Now we have research. Now we have the internet. And I know you think I'm over-parenting. I know you think that we were fine, but I wasn't fine, and I'm not, you could, I don't know, you don't have to say this, but I'm not blaming you. You might want to blame them, right? But have a gentle conversation where you express your hurt. Okay. And I had to have this conversation with my mom where like, you got to let me find my way. I'm not going to do what you did. We know more. We're going to do better, and we have to remember, guys, I know this phrase brings up a lot of feelings for people, but they did the best they could with what they had. That's not always true. I understand that. But remember, they didn't have the internet. They had their village, which was family members. They did just what everybody else was doing. There was a parenting consensus. Everybody spanked their kids. Yeah. Because that's what you did. And that's what you learned from your mother. That's what she learned from her mother. So in that way, the village was a little insular and there was no outside information. We weren't doing research on this kinds of things. So there were a lot of things that they did, stop crying before I give you something to cry about, these kinds of things. They didn't have the skills. And so I'm not saying we have to forgive them, because forgiveness is for you, not for them. You have to find room in your heart, even if it's not in person. But we also have to have a little bit of grace in, I don't know. I also think, what if your kids come to you one day and want to cut you off and say, you should know what you did to me. So I think sit down and give them an opportunity, the actual conversation. Can we work on this? And I have friends who have done this with somebody they deemed toxic. And the parent was like, oh, I didn't even know that was bad. I'm sorry. Okay, you're right. And I've had this blow up in clients' faces, and they're like, oh yeah, a narcissistic mom's going to turn it on you. Oh, I'm a terrible parent. I did everything wrong. And so I know that exists, but I think it's always good to give the opportunity to have a sincere conversation in which you express your hurt, not your anger, because under the anger is always hurt. Okay. Again, if you're thinking of estrangement, if you're thinking of cutting anybody off, is it current or is it your past? I have a good friend, Tara, who, her child has all kinds of special circumstances that her parents, her in-laws just don't understand. And there was quite a bit of toxicity, and her spouse really was firm about no, we're cutting them off. But Tara could really see the possibility. She was like, no, there's something here. I think they're trying, even if they're misfiring in their try. And they ended up being really able to educate the in-laws, and the in-laws are trying. They misstep, but they are trying and truly making an effort. And even sometimes now her husband gets a little grumpy with them, but it's him because he's reliving his stuff. And so sometimes we can't get out of our own way because all we remember is what they did to us. And so we can't see the present clearly. So that's what I would say too. Check in with other people. If your spouse is saying, honey, it's actually not a big deal. I mean, people have to check me all the time. Me and my best friend, she just voice noted me something about her neighbor. And I was girl, you got to slow your roll. That's your neighbor. We need some friends and even our partners, anybody, to check in and say, not just cheerlead us and say, no, yeah, you should cut them off. If somebody is saying oh, I think you're just seeing that through your past or your lens, I think it's always good to run it by somebody else. Now, certainly with spouses, there can be the too blasé, don't worry about, she didn't mean anything. And you're like, but she did. But it's really worth it because, again, we see things through just through our lens. And I've said this before, right? I maintain that one of the things that got screwed up in parenting is that we who are intentionally trying to intentionally parent, trying to do conscious, respectful parenting. The last time we remember being parented actively was when we were teenagers, and our parents were awful usually in those years. Just the whole teenagers are awful. They just fought with us. They just made things worse, right? Fucked with our little developing brains. And I hated how the whole teenage thing was taught. So now we turn around and we try to correct that in our toddler parenting. That's why I think the Govern Guide and the Govern Garden Guide often gets upside down. People are trying to guide their toddlers because that's what they remember. So that's what I would say. I'm not going to belabor it because, again, this is highly personal and only you can decide. But bear in mind that family, that usually is the first ring of the village in which there's unconditional help without being paid or reciprocated. And again, it may not be for you guys, but in the places where it is, if your parents would like that to happen, I would move mountains to make that happen. I would move mountains to have hard conversations. Okay. The last couple of podcasts, like I said, we were talking about making time. I hear as usual, what we have to do is when we think about cultivating the village, we have to look at the obstacles to creating the village. And so we went through choosing sandwiches, trying to clear a little bit of time. Even if you can't clear a little bit of time, there needs to be some stepping out of your comfort zone. Okay, we definitely want to slow our roll again with sports, with parties, to make more room for like playground play. But I really want to talk about something called micro connection, because again, all of us are getting soaked in dopamine. If you do any work on the computer, if you look at your phone, even if you don't have social media, the phone itself is a dopamine hit, okay? Even if you don't have social media, check on your pickups of your phone. I do know some people who have just don't. I have a couple of friends. I know I have some listeners and people in the Oh Crap Cafe who don't have any problem putting down their phone and forgetting where it is. But for a large majority of us, present company included, the phone is an issue. And it is, we have to manage the dopamine, because when we are drenched in dopamine, it fucks us up and we just crave more. The brain wants dopamine, and once it starts to get it, it just wants more, and it will crave it more than eating, sleeping, and going to the bathroom. The studies prove this time and time again, which is how drug addicts and severe alcoholics can actually give up their kids and not care about them, because the dopamine urge is so strong. It's why if kids get locked into something on the iPad, they will forget all about eating. They will pee their pants. Their sleep, it messes with us. So we have to curb that. And again, so much of our social connection is through dopamine channels, and we want that free drug, man, of oxytocin. That is what's going to settle you. That is what's going to help anxiety. That is going to feed your tend and befriend. That is going to feed that really good feeling inside of you of well-being. We're in a mental health crisis, everyone. And you can tell, those of you who don't have social media, God love you. I need it for work. I wish I didn't. But the apps are insane. People are insane. They are angry. Everybody needs their opinion heard. They want to be seen. They want to be validated. But even if it were a loving environment where like you come on my page and you're like, I'm having a hard time. And I'm like, oh, I'm sending you a hug. I hear you. Those years are so hard. And you may be like, oh, Jamie loves me. That's great. You don't know me. I mean, you know me, you know a lot about me because of this podcast, but it's not the same as if I were hugging you. So recognize that oxytocin. And so let's talk about these micro connections, because I think this is such a valuable thing. Physical time, it pays amazing dividends. And so we want to make space emotionally. A big thing I hear is I'm shy. I'm an introvert. And I get it, guys. I get it. I present as an extrovert. I am not. I'm an introvert. I need social, like battery recovery. I learned homeschooling, like almost every other day I need to just be home because social events kill me. I can hang in there. I can be the life of the party, but I recharge solo. And I learned early on, fun fact about me, my report card up until third grade had a note that I would fail school if I did not begin talking. I started to talk in fourth grade very reluctantly. And then I came out of my shell when I started waitressing at 14, because I figured out you could make money by talking and being nice to people with tips. And I figured out that the world rewards extroverts. And so I present extrovert. I also don't care if I'm an ass. And years of being a performer in musicals, I got so used to rejection. So I don't care if somebody rejects me. I don't take it. I do take it personally. Like, I take negative feedback, negative comments on Instagram affect me. Just like all humans, that one negative thing it could be hundreds of good, comments, and the one thing will kind of get under my skin. Although I have to say I've gotten much, 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 much better about it. But where was I going with that? Rejection. Yeah, because cultivating a community will require you to not be so introverted. Okay. You can't just be in your own world and expect everybody to come to you. If you can, you get yourself an extrovert friend. That would be awesome because they're the best. But I also have come to the conclusion, I really learned this during the pandemic because we were all stuck at home. I worked with a phenomenal amount of clients because I was just home. I had spreadsheets on the wall. I could keep track better because I wasn't really doing anything else. And out of the multitude of people I worked with, only one child truly suffered because he was an extrovert. And he started, when I say he was hoarding food, he was started pulling out his hair, tics like out of the blue. And the mom had to find people who would be willing to pot up because he was literally going crazy. And I think that's the true extrovert. I think true extroverts are actually the rarer thing. Introvert, I think it's more common to be introverted. More people, as much as there was a lot of downs to the lockdowns and kids being out of school and all of that, I do think that more people, more people, I can't say enjoyed, but you know what? They did okay being alone with just a few people. Whereas the true extroverts really went crazy. So that let me know that I think there's a tipping point. I think most people fall somewhere in the middle, like me. Like they can present as an extrovert, but they are really an introvert, but they're not the like, don't talk to me kind of introvert. An interesting thing, somebody just told me, my dentist yesterday told me about a study came out that the biggest fear and college students used to be public speaking. It is now speaking. So we have created a society in which kids don't even want to speak. So one of these things means making yourself emotionally open. And to do that, you have to look physically open. Okay. And this is how we do these microaggressions, micro connections. Micro connections are, I think it was Mr. Rogers. I don't know. There's a song from my childhood. These are the people in my neighborhood, in the neighborhood, in the neighborhood. Oh, these are the people in my neighborhood. They're the people that you meet when you're walking down the street. They're the people that you meet each day. So, neighborhood. These are the people in my neighborhood, the cashiers at the market that you always go to, the gas station attendant, the moms at the playground, when you are out for a walk or a run, maybe you go to the gym. But what has happened is we have gotten extremely insular, right? Because of headphones. We want to just listen to our music when we're on a walk. We want to be left alone 90% of the time because we're touched out, we're exhausted. And so leave me the fuck alone. I just want to sit at the playground and scroll my phone. Because it is, I don't know if you guys notice this. I notice it. I especially noticed it when we were in Italy because I wasn't like using my phone and we get back to the hotel. And when you start scrolling, it feels like it calms your nervous system, but it doesn't. Again, it's a dopamine hit. It's not regulating, even though it feels like it. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that. I can't gauge. You guys are a new breed of parents, so I know so many of you don't use social media or your phone, so I don't know if you have that experience, but I do. And so it can feel like, just leave me alone. I just want to scroll Instagram for 5 minutes. My kid's playing happily. Like, I don't want to fucking talk to somebody. I don't want to make an overture. The problem is nobody's making overtures. And I am continuously shocked that everybody is suffering. I haven't talked to one single mom who is like, yeah, I got this. No, mothering's great. Nope, I don't have, my husband takes exactly 50%. Nope. Yep, I work. Yeah, everything's fine. Nobody's ever said that. Everybody's fucking drowning and nobody wants to say like hard things to each other. So I don't know why we're not, it seems like the easiest solution if if we all are drowning in laundry, like I just don't think why is it that we're just not like, hey, you come to my house and sit and have coffee, just keep me company and I'll just clean and fold laundry and then I'll come to your house. Like, I just don't know why we're not doing that. Why we're not admitting, why we're not being more vulnerable with each other, because everybody's going through the same thing. So when you go to the playground, picture this, there's a few moms there. Maybe they look bitchy. Maybe they look like the mean girls. I don't know. Maybe they don't look like good parents at all, but they're another mom and they don't have to be your best friend. They don't have to get your phone number. They don't have to be your ride or die, but they can be somebody in the moment where you just start talking and you say something like, oh my God, it's a beautiful day. I really should be home doing laundry. I'm way behind. And chances are that other moms could be like, dude, don't even talk to me about laundry, or I love doing laundry, but my kitchen stove has not been cleaned for a year. You're going to start these things where you get seen and heard and validated. And that's what moms need. Or, you start the conversation and then, talking about laundry, and the other mom's like, "Oh, did I tell you I found the most remarkable stain remover." You get tips, you get tricks, or then you start talking. Maybe you see that person with regularity, and you're like, "Oh, how's it going?" Now you have a friend, right? And you don't even have to know the person's name. That's a micro connection. When I lived in Providence, I used to take a daily walk, and I loved my fucking daily walk. It was, I had my dog Stella, and I walked the same path, and there were 3 people in particular. One woman sneaking a cigarette out on her, well, I guess she wasn't sneaking. She was on her front porch, but she came out every morning to have her cigarette. One was a halfway house, and there was another guy who was kind of, I want to say schizophrenic, also smoking, but always lucid when he saw me and said hi. And then a woman who kept chickens, which was kind of odd in Providence because it's a city, and she had 2 chickens in her backyard. And every day I'd go by and I'd say, "Hi, chicken lady," and she'd say, "Hi, walking girl." Never met her. Every day for probably a year. She was chicken lady, I was walking girl, and we just said hi to each other, and we loved seeing each other. And she'd be like, "Where were you yesterday, walking girl?" "Oh, I had to work and I didn't have time to come." "Oh, I missed you." Never ever stopped and said, introduced our names. We just loved that relationship. Cigarette women would just be like, "Hey," with a raspy voice. I'd be like, "Hi, good morning." And so these are micro connections, and they made me so happy. And again, this is like the outer concentric circle of the village, but these are the village. And so I encourage you to stay off your phone, to not have headphones in, and not close yourself off, like to literally make yourself more available. Even if you feel shy and you don't want to make the overture, just looking like you're open really helps. And so these are some baby steps if you feel like, "I'm so shy, I can't meet anybody." And don't get me wrong, you may go to another person and start a conversation, and they look you up and down, cross their arms, give you every social cue that they're not interested in talking with you. You may get rejected, and it's not the end of the world. There are enough people in the world that you're going to find somebody, but it doesn't have to be your person. And keeping ourselves emotionally available, like, I'm ready, leave the house and say, "I would like to talk to 2 people today," even if you don't. I friggin' talk to everybody. Like, sometimes I actually have to leave my house because I need to go make human connection so I don't get all weird over here, right? And so I want to talk about one more thing, is the idea of, "I can't find my people. I can't find my people. I don't fit in anywhere." Dude, I've been a freak since the day I was born. I never fit in with anybody. And so I realized that there are people, like, there's people that you have to use filters with. That's all. And not everybody wants to hear all the things about you, and you're not going to find somebody who's exactly simpatico, exactly like you. You may find one, and that person's great, but they usually live 100 miles away. So, um, and those people will come in and out, That's the thing too, is like, none of this has to be forever. It's just that we need these micro connections to as a balm for our soul. It just lifts our day. And sometimes it means complimenting somebody in front of you. I love complimenting. Every time I see another human, I find something I love about them. I do a scan and I'm like, "Oh my God." This woman at Whole Foods the other day had like this weird gold in her earrings and in her shoes. And I was like, "Oh my God, how did you match those? You look fabulous." Compliments are great. I mean, they should be sincere. I find something I honestly like. Always talk about the weather, even that kind of exchange. But if you feel like, I think actually this is getting long, so I think I'm going to save the fitting in, because there's so much about that, like not finding your people, not fitting in, feeling like nobody likes you, or feeling like you can't be yourself. Dude, I have to break it to you. Every single person feels that way. Ask anybody and they'll be like, "Yeah, I totally don't fit in." We're not going to find a tongue and groove, fit most of the time. But I think I'll save that for next week, because this is getting long and I actually have a lot to say about it. So, all right, you guys, I hope that was helpful. And as always, I appreciate you, and have an awesome day. I'm going hiking. I'm going to go bag 3 summits in New Hampshire. All right, I'll let you know how that goes. Take care, guys. Rock on. Okay, bye, everyone. Just a reminder, if you need additional resources, I have Oh Crap Potty Training. I have Oh Crap, I Have a Toddler. Those books are available everywhere you want to find a book. You can also go to my website, jamieglowacki.com, where you can book private sessions with me, buy any of my courses. Those are really geared towards potty training help. And also I'm on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook anymore, and I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, jamie.glowacki, and I do a lot of lives and usually posting a lot of good information. So those are extra resources for you. And as always, rock on. Have an awesome day.